Adani Group stocks doing extremely well. Adani Ent has moved to the high point of trade, a recovery of nearly 4% from the lows. And the other one which is doing well is AB Fashion. But let's talk about Somany Ceramics. That's the stock which has actually rallied about 20% since its fourth quarter numbers. It was a good set of numbers coming in. In fact, the margins improved for the company. The net profit jumped by about 27%. And we did see an EBITDA growth of about 30% as well on a high single-digit revenue growth as well. Abhishek Somany, who's the MD and CEO, joins in now. Thanks a lot, Abhishek, for joining in. Congratulations on what was a good set of numbers. You've spoken about, low double-digit growth for FY25, largely fueled by volume. So let's talk about the growth for FY25 itself. A sense of how H1 will pan out, how H2 will pan out, because H1 has the elections, the first quarter. And FY25 volumes, what's the growth that you're penciling in?
So like we said, it's going to be low double-digit growth for FY25, and largely it's going to be fueled by volume. So that answers your second question, that mostly it will be a volume-led growth. Yes, you're very correct that the election is going to be, it's already hampering sales in the first 2 months, which is April and May. Hopefully after the elections, we should see a rebound. There's been a lot of labor which has gone back for voting. Plus, there's been extreme heat in the north coupled with that. So both put together is going to be a lackluster H1, basically because of Q1. So Q2 onwards, we do believe that it should have a rebound in growth. So fairly, very confident.
Okay. So net, would you have an outlook in terms of your entire FY25 volume outlook?
Yeah, like I said, it'll be double digits, but low double digits. Largely that growth will be volume led. So I would say a good 75-80% of that growth would come from volumes.
Okay. What are gas prices currently at? They were around 45 for every CBM in FY24. And that's lower as compared to the 59 rate that we saw in FY23. What is it currently, and what is the expectation on the trajectory?
Right. So we buy 3 kinds of gas. In the north, we have gas which is supplied from GAIL. So that's mostly on the RAS gas contract and also the Henry Hub. There, the prices are hovering around the 45-46 rupees per standard cubic meter level. In Morbi, we get, which is in the west of India, in Gujarat, there we get gas from Gujarat Gas. And there again, it's pretty much the same as what we have in the north, which is at between the 45 and 44 rupee range. Somewhere there is the gas price. Currently, it is little higher. It's at about 47 rupees a standard cubic meter, but we do believe that it will be back to 45-ish standard cubic meter. And in south, which is our Andhra plant, that is where we are buying gas from at spot. There the prices are much higher. There our prices are currently at 50 rupees a standard cubic meter.
All right. So you expect them to stay range bound for this year so far?
Yes, we expect them to stay range bound. And also I would like to, make it a point that we are also using a host of biofuels in our north plant. And also some of those fuels are being used in our south and our Gujarat plant. So that also averages out the gas prices further. Because a lot of our spray dryers are running on these biofuels.
Yeah, that's important because, you have given us a 1 to 1.5% sort of improvement in margin sort of guidance in your conference call already. So I just wanted to know if there are future triggers beyond this 1.5% that you're talking about in FY25. And to that itself, a corollary would be the mix, because you have ceramics at 35%, PVT at 29%, and GVT at 36%. What's your ideal mix going forward?
GVT is going to go up. So I think ceramics and GVT will lead the race, and PVT is going to keep going down because that's more project item. And I think even in the projects, GVT is replacing a lot of the PVT. But I think the mix going forward, I mean, the ideal mix is as much as we can sell of the value-added GVT. But I think the ideal mix currently, step by step, would be taking GVT up to the 40% level. Where it would basically eat into the PVT sales, not so much into the ceramic sales.
What's the difference in realizations between the two?
It's not a question of realization. It's a question of contribution. So in GVT we do get better contribution. The reason for that is in GVT we're able to do very different kinds of products and for different kinds of applications. PVT is kind of restricted to sizes and formats and also the design. So therefore there's only a limited amount of value addition which one can do in PVT. It's nothing to do with PVT or GVT. It's just that GVT we're able to do a lot more value addition, which as a technology we're not able to do in PVT. Therefore,
Okay.
GVT gives us better contribution.
All right. Well, promoters have been buying stake continuously. I think you hold around 55% in the company right now. Any plans to increase stake further?
Currently, we did the buyback, and in that, a little bit of our stake went up, but no specific plans as of now to increase the stake.
No specific plans, but you've been a firm, contributor to increasing the promoter share of the company right from 51% in March 2020 at a much lower level. You've enjoyed the benefits of that as well, but as of now, no plans. We'll take that. And final question then, target share of revenue coming in from bathware and faucets, because you were targeting over 25% growth in this segment, which faced a bit of challenge last year.
I think last year the entire building material industry faced a challenge, and therefore, bathware was it's no exception. So if our main segment tiles had an issue, then bathware obviously had a little bit more of a concern. But going forward, again, the same logic applies. The base is very small, and we do believe that we should be able to grow at 20+% in the bathware segment. So
And
fairly
you
confident.
also-
Then the whole building material sector has to start moving. Last year, the entire building material sector, which was in front of the wall, not so much behind the wall, which means the cement, steel, pipes did well last year. And all the front of the wall items were struggling. So hopefully with the real estate sector really, booming right now, all the buildings which have been announced, all the projects which have been announced, that will come into completion, or rather start getting, the tiles being put. So I think that's the big positive for the industry.
So, you've increased your project sales as well from 20%, you're targeting 25 to 27% coming in. How does that impact your margins and working capital? Because projects obviously have a high working capital cycle and lower margins.
We've been selective to projects. We're about 6 to 7% in private projects and about 12% in government projects. So I think the private projects necessarily are going to go up because all the launches which have happened. I think after RERA, a lot of discipline is happening with the builders. So I don't think we will be in the same situation, in the same cycle as we were about 5-7 years ago with projects. So again, we're very careful as to which projects we're taking, which projects we are taking on board. So I don't think that would be a very large concern. Retail still remains to be a large focus. So I don't think that would be a major concern, because 3-4% project going up, some part of it would be government, some part of it would be private projects, and also a lot of commercial, which is, the organized retail, which is now also booming. So, the Zaras of the world coming up and they need tiles, the Marutis of the world, the Nexas of the world, all of that which is coming up, everywhere it's going to be a tile consumption going up. So positive on all fronts.
Okay, all right. Definitely a lot of optimism there. We'll leave it on that note. Abhishek, thanks very much for joining in and speaking with us. So that's Somany Ceramics. The stock is down around 4.7%, has rallied significantly. Just want to point out stocks such as Hindustan Zinc are really the stocks of the day based on volume and price action. It's up around 12% at this point in time and is rallied now 117% this year already and up around 61% this month. We'll take a short break, but on the other side, we'll be talking to the management of Rainbow Children's Medicare to discuss their Q4 numbers. Stay tuned.